It all started with a strange sound barely audible, almost like a whisper. A group of urban explorers stumbled upon an abandoned veterinary clinic on the outskirts of town. It had been shut down for over 20 years. Everything inside was covered in thick layers of dust, shelves filled with expired medicine, cracked windows, and rusted cages. They were documenting their exploration for a video series, nothing unusual for them, until they heard barking. But it wasn't just barking. It sounded ... organized, like a pattern. One bark, two short ones, a pause, then another sequence. At first, they laughed it off. Echoes, one of them said, but curiosity pulled them deeper inside. The barking led them to a sealed door at the far end of the basement, partially hidden behind old furniture and cabinets. The door wasn't locked, but it was heavy, almost like it didn't want to be opened. Behind that door was a room, small, no windows. Only one camera mounted high in the corner, and in the middle of that room were 3 dogs. They weren't scared. They weren't aggressive. They were sitting still, alert, and watching the intruders. Then one of the dogs stood up, walked over to a broken speaker on the wall, and pressed a button with its paw. The speaker crackled, and then it spoke. Not a human voice, not an imitation, a voice that sounded canine, yet processed, mechanical, and the words were clear. "Why are you here?" The explorers froze. One of them dropped the camera, another ran. Only one stayed. Shaking, he asked, "What? What is this?" The dog responded, "This is not your place." Over the next few minutes captured fully on tape, the remaining explorer questioned the dog. It answered, not in full sentences, but in phrases, fragments. Enough to understand, these weren't just any dogs. They had been part of an experiment, something government-related, a communication project gone wrong or right, depending on how you see it. The room was a training chamber. The dogs had been taught over years how to communicate using modified AI vocal processors implanted during surgery. The project had been shut down after public protests, and the animals were meant to be relocated. But apparently, that never happened. One of the dogs limped slightly. Another had a scar across its ear. They weren't aggressive, but they weren't exactly friendly either. They were ... sentient, watching, studying, as if aware of every movement, every sound, every emotion. The explorer asked, "Are there more of you?" Long silence. Then the dog said, "Too many." Before anything else could be said, the power in the building flickered. Lights went out. The video cuts out for 2 minutes. When the footage resumes, the room is empty. No dogs, just the explorer, sitting alone, silent. He left the building and never spoke about it again publicly. But the footage somehow surfaced online. It was posted anonymously to a Reddit thread about creepy animal stories, then taken down hours later. But not before it was copied, shared, and saved. People began digging, and what they found was disturbing. An old research facility in northern Canada. Decommissioned in the early 2000s. Rumors about animal speech experiments, unconfirmed reports of escape attempts, a whistleblower claiming that one of the dogs had developed advanced reasoning skills and could manipulate simple electronics. Some say this is fake, a hoax, an elaborate ARG. But those who've watched the full tape, they say otherwise. The way the dogs look at the camera, the patterns in their speech, the eerie calmness, it doesn't feel scripted. One detail remains unexplained. In the background of the tape behind the barking, the static, the dialogue, you can faintly hear music, almost like a lullaby. Slowed down, warped, and if you play the audio backwards, there's a voice, a human voice. It says, "We taught them too much." Nobody knows where the dogs are now. Some say they escaped. Others believe they're still there, underground, waiting, listening. And the most chilling part, at the very end of the tape, just before the screen cuts to black, a final message appears. They are watching you too.